She was offloaded at the southern sugar town of Nambour, where her crew set about the ritual of raising steam, the old routine. But what lay ahead no sugar train had ever faced before, a 2,000-kilometre haul, way up the coast to where the sugar rails end, in a 50-year-old loco. So they oiled her and provisioned her, and christened her Bundy, after the sugar town where she was built. A final polish, and they climbed aboard and said, "Bundy, let's go." Small gauge steam locomotives were the backbone of the Australian sugar industry from the 1880s to their replacement by diesels in the 1970s. Many were scrapped or just left to rust, but not Bundy. Rail devotees salvaged and restored a few of these little tank engines, giving them weekend runs on closed tracks. But this was something else. This was a 50-year-old engine on a 100-year-old railway. The long ribbon of fertile land that runs up Queensland's Pacific coast grew up on sugar. In the glory days of steam, roads were bad or non-existent. River and rail were the kings of heavy transport. It's a rollicking ride on the old narrow gauge line. The rails are only an arm's length apart, but they carry remarkable loads. Modern sugar diesels may be bigger and stronger than Bundy, but they're just the evolution of an idea that started when the sugar pioneers laid the first temporary rails across their paddocks. Amid the dirt and dust of the cane fields, where men hefted the whole-stick cane and sweated in the high tropical heat, horses hauled the harvest on a makeshift line to the railhead. The arrival of a loco like Bundy to whisk the cane away to the mill was like the coming of a miracle. The Milliquin Mill still stands on the Burnett River to salute Bundy as she comes steaming back into the lives of the locals who once drove the sugar trains. And they well remember Bundy and her sisters on their good days and their bad.
It's been 22 years. It's brought back a lot of memories. You know, when you had to work these things for real, yeah, at the start of the week they were good, but by the end of the week when you had dirty water and they were priming, they were a real curse to sort of walk onto.
Bundaberg has given its nickname to Bundy and, more famously, to the liquid gold fermented and distilled from sugar. You're looking at $500 million worth of Bundaberg rum. It's long been a precious cargo exported around the world, and so popular locally it was once used in place of money. Back then, a fair bit of unauthorised quality control took place down at the docks. All you needed for this rewarding hobby was a good thirst, a good mate with a good lamp, and a good brace and bit. And, you know, it was such important work. These volunteers did it for nothing.
It's leaking. I think we should get that fixed. What do you think? That's where it's coming from, between the smoke box and the saddle. Yeah. Must be that main steam pipe that's leaking.
At least Bundy's picked a good place to take a sickie, right outside the factory that made her.
Good that it can come home to where it was built, and at least we have got a drawing. And there are not too many drawings of steam locos still remain, because we'll have to cut the pipe and undo these bolts down in here. They probably haven't been undone since 1949, 52, around that time.
Her health restored, the old-timer heads north again, out through suburbs that were bush and open fields when she first rolled out of the factory. Mackay, where the Pioneer River ends its long seaward journey through some of the finest sugar country in the world, and where Bundy meets an old-timer like herself, intent on keeping history alive.
We picked it up in '52. We roared to go down to the place, the railway station, and there it was, sitting in a railway truck. And we brought it up to the mill, and they had great trouble getting it out. It was too heavy for the cranes, you know, 22 tonne. And I eventually got on the line, and a chap by the name of Johnny Harvison, he was an old driver at Plaistow, and they put him on the Loco as driver, and I went as his fireman. I honestly think it's probably better than when it was new. It just looks better somehow. Yes, there was two of these, two Fowlers, an older one, number 8. And this one, well, it had more steam head because it was new. We used to pull the river, you know, and it pulled 22 4-tonne trucks up the river, this steep grade, and we'd bring them across 22 at a time. Oh, up and down the river. And it used to get hot, you know. It was working hard all the time. Oh, wonderful. Yes, it sort of brings back memories. And going over the hills and through the lantana and rocking along. Beautiful smell of the smoke and the coming through the cab and steam and hot oil. Yep. Yeah, it was wonderful. Yeah. Well, it's just a strange thing how you remember, isn't it? Over all them years. And what, we go back? We go back, yeah. I left here and went to Mossman, and I worked